Computer simulation started in archaeology in the 1980s, but the software and the hardware that was available at that time were fairly limited. There were a number of advances in both software and hardware in the 1990s that made it possible to do what we call agent-based modeling, which is to track specific households, specific families in our case, across the landscape through time and watch their interactions with each other and with the environment.
I'm the computer scientist on the project, and my role is to oversee the programming of the VEP code. And part of the programming is challenging because you're dealing with a lot of lines of code. You're talking hundreds of thousands of lines of code in a strange programming language. So one key role I have is to make sure that the archaeologists, what they want to happen actually does take place in the code. So I make sure that the code reflects those intentions. So when the archaeologists start developing their ideas and saying, well, what if I give the agent the ability to travel a certain distance? Or what if I increase this distance? What if I reduce it? What if I enable a different feature that they can do? So when you start asking those what ifs questions, you start coming up with different combinations or different configurations for the simulation. So the simulation have lots of parameters, and I mean hundreds of parameters. So every time you change one parameter, you'll have a different outcome.
It's not all that different from how archaeology has been done. It is a new technology, and it's a new way of thinking about the past. And what's really special about computer simulation is that we can actually look at a lot of different stories, creating different understandings of the past, which then we have to compare with the actual archaeological record, the record of how people actually behaved in the past.
The most important thing, I think, in my life are relationships that I have with other people. But 100 years from now, no one is going to know the interactions that I had with my father, my brother, my sister, my mother. People are not going to be able to see that. They will only be able to see the things that I left behind. Simulation allows us a way to look at those relationships. What the simulation allows us to do is look at how families could interact with one another. I specifically look at the exchange of food across the landscape, so the exchange of corn and the exchange of meat, and look at how being tied to certain other people on the landscape might help these people to survive in years when there isn't enough corn growing in their fields.